Hi, Internet. Welcome to the Troyan YouTube channel. We are here with another rocker reaction. It is Wildcard Wednesday. So, what are we reacting to today? We are reacting to Regdar and the Fighters and a song off their album Spoiler Alert. So, who are Regdar and the Fighters and why am I reacting to them? Well, Regdar and the Fighters are a glitch punk band, so kind of similar to Devo in terms of style, but maybe maybe a little bit poppier, but also maybe goofier lyrically than Devo. Yeah, if you can get goofy lyrically, more goofy lyrically, that's kind of what you get. They are a Nashville-based band, and is basically my bassist solo project. And I actually discovered him through his band, where I saw him playing on an open mic, and I thought, wow, this guitar tone is terrible. But these songs are amazing because he was playing this weird short scale bass that was tuned to DDAD using three guitar strings and one bass string, so it was all just bar chords. So he could be like a one man bassist guitarist, and I thought the sound of the instrument was terrible, but I thought the songs were really catchy and really poppy. Bought the CD. Spoiler alert, which was actually a choose your own adventure album. So in between the tracks, there'd be dialogue, and you get to make different choices. And then it'd be like, skip to this track if you make this choice, or skip to this track if you make this choice. And you go to different songs, and there'd be a different story. And so I thought the album was actually really fun because it was both a great album and a fun game. And actually, I was really blown away by the CD, where it was one of the best albums I'd ever heard. And even though his live tone was terrible, his production was great, and I was blown away by the songwriting, blown away by the production, and I just thought it was a really great, awesome album. And then sheepishly asked him to be my bassist, and I figured he wouldn't want anything to do with me because I thought his album was so great. And he said yes, and years later, we're best friends. He was best man at my wedding. He's been in my band for years. He's been a great songwriting partner. He is the Lennon to my McCartney. The Stanley to my Simmons. Like, we balance each other out really well. And I wanted to just give a little shout out to my best buddy, but sincerely, like, I came at this album as a fan, and then forced someone I was a fan of to be my best friend. But yeah, it's a really great album, and sort of each song on the album, like I said, it's a choose your own adventure album, but each song summarizes and spoils the plot of a book or movie or video game. So there's a song called Tomb Raider. There's a song called Fight Club. There's a song called Red Dwarf, which I'm a big Red Dwarf fan, so that's why one of the reasons I bought this. He's like, "Whoa, you wrote a song called Red Dwarf," but this is a song that I think is just a fine example of his really great songwriting and his sort of distinct style. Where it's a song called Illium, based off a Dan Simmons book I never read, but I guess it's like the Iliad but in space. Never read it. Based upon Steve's opinion of it, it didn't seem that great, but a really fun, sarcastic song, but really just a great, great pop song. So I hope you'll give this a chance. I know some people have been requesting that I react to my own music, and this tangentially maybe counts because we included this as a bonus track on the special editions of our the debut Lipstick album. So it's a special edition bonus track, so kinda a Lipstick Generation-ish song. But we played it live. It sounds a little bit more like Iron Maiden when we do it live because we're a heavier band. But I love the production on this. I love everything about it. And yeah, let me share it with you because I think it's really cool. So yeah, so there's a lot going on there right at the beginning. So Steve is a computer programmer by trade, and what he did with Regdar is he programmed it to be a one-man band. So he has this DDR pad that he stands on while performing, and he triggers different sequences with the DDR pad, and it's both randomized drums and randomized synthesizers, so that the computer has a little bit of a mind of its own with the compositions, where he'll say, this is the key, these are the chords that we're using, but then the computer sort of gets to improvise. So the keyboard line, like, he programmed the computer program and then let the computer decide what that keyboard line would be. And so when he records for the albums, he cycles until he finds one he likes. And then he mixes in those keyboards with his instrument he calls the Abomination, that bass I described, plus electric guitar, plus a live drummer. And so you get this really distinct, unique sound where it's a little bit new wavy, but it's definitely more energetic and punk. But just a really cool combination. The drummer on this track ended up playing drums in our second album, a guy named Greg Loricano out of Texas, a great drummer. And I really thought that the different drum samples mixed in with the live drums, they work very well together, and they complement each other in a unique way that make just a really awesome, cool drum pattern. So we're going to rewind just a hair. You know what? We'll rewind all the way to the beginning so we can appreciate it and jump into the first verse. Yeah, so just a lot of great stuff there. First off, Steve, that's his name, Steve Smith, great, great, great vocalist, a better singer than me. I'm just, unfortunate that I'm the lead singer in the band because he is a much better singer than I am. But great, clean, excellent vocal, phenomenal melody, and the lyrics sort of really showcase his personality as being a sarcastic nerd. And so he describes sort of the book, in a way that senior English is hard, and the idea is that these are things that are just boring in school, like the Iliad. People don't like reading it, and so doing this weird sci-fi take on it doesn't make it any more interesting. It just makes it more confusing, is sort of his lyrical approach and summarized in the book. But it has that great pop chorus of "I left my heart on Illium," which is sort of a cheesy standard pop line, but he delivers it completely straight, and it sells the song for me as just this. I know he's being sarcastic, but I buy the line of, like, I left my heart on Illium. It's a cool line. As someone who loves a passionate love song, I feel it. And you've got these great, dizzying drum patterns, but it's still it's very energetic and moves at a brisk pace, like it's the exact tempo it needs to be, where it's distinct. It's something that's not exactly like other stuff you've heard, but it's accessible. Like it's a great accessible pop melody, and one of the reasons I want him in my band was that I recognized his craft with songwriting and just love this piece. So we're gonna rewind a hair and we'll get back to it. Great classic rock. Hold out the chord. Excellent backing vocals. And he's summarizing the plot of the book. great drumming.
time back to Illium, and the little green men are building Easter Island on Mars to summon some great creature from mythology. Honestly, I don't know why they would do that. None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. Illium.
Yeah, just a phenomenal bridge. Once again, just like melodically brilliant. Love the backing vocals and the build at the end. Steve has a really great range and just a really excellent knack for vocal arrangement. And once again, very snarky, very sarcastic. You get a chuckle out of it. But the great thing with this band and this project, it's very jokey, a lot of humor in the songs, and a lot of joke songs aren't necessarily good on repeated listens, at least in Steve's point of view. And you have to have just great melodies and hooks to back it up. Where even if you're sick of the joke, the construction of the pop craft is strong enough to keep you there even after the joke has faded. And I think he really succeeds with that, which is like, this is just a really excellent, great pop song. And, there's sort of there's a brilliance to it in a way where, the idea was that he wanted to do something like Iron Maiden-esque, but at this point he hadn't had as much experience playing necessarily metal, and with the instrumentation that this band offers, you're not going to get really an Iron Maiden kind of song. So he thought, oh, I'll do something gallopy like Maiden, but when it's in this context, it just comes off as more light and poppy, but with a really great bounce to it. And so when we play it live, Lipstick Generation, the band we're in together, it comes off as much more Iron Maiden, just because we're a heavier band, we have that musical background. But I love how you can take inspiration from a band like Iron Maiden and morph it into something completely different like this, and make it distinct. Where there was mention of when Paul Stanley wrote "I Stole Your Love," he was inspired by the Deep Purple song "Burn." And he said the way he wrote it was much closer to that song, but when you get the guys in Kiss playing it, it just got its own distinct vibe and became its own great thing that was very separate from Burn. And that's how I feel with this, where when you have the Regdar instrumentation, when you write an Iron Maiden style song, it's not going to sound like Maiden. It's going to sound like Regdar, and I think that's really great. It's distinct, it's poppy, it's catchy, it's funny. Yeah, it's just, and well produced, all around great. Rewinding just a hair, and we'll finish this up.
Makes sense. None of it makes sense. Illium, Illium, I left my heart on Illium, and my teleportation helmet is an Illium. We can arrow forward in time back to Illium. Quantum physics is complicated, and senior English is hard. Put them together, you'll guarantee almost nobody gets the point.
Yeah, just a great retard at the end. You really can sort of savor the isolation of the Abomination tone there, which live it didn't sound great, but it's very well produced here. And the next song started because that was a playlist. I don't want to do spoilers necessarily, even though the album's called Spoiler Alert and the album contains a bunch of spoilers within it. But yeah, just wrap up thoughts. Just a really, really excellent song. Just for me, that's a home run. That's an S rank. The entire Spoiler Alert album is great. It's a masterpiece in my opinion. I know I throw around the term masterpiece a lot. But I think it's a work that Steve should be extremely proud of. I'm honored to be his friend, to have such a great musician work with me, and I thought it was great before he was in my band. This is why I wanted him in my band, because I just respected this so much. It's really great. I highly encourage you check out some more Regdar and the Fighters music, and hopefully this didn't come off as self-congratulatory, because I've received a decent number of requests to react to my own music, and I probably will do that at some point. But really, what I wanted to do is, with this channel, I'm trying to be authentic and sincere. That's what I'm trying to do, and trying to put some good in the world. And as the band isn't doing much, due to COVID and personal life things, I wanted to do something that was fun, that showed Steve, that I love him, that I wanted to do something cool for my buddy and say, hey man, I love you, you're cool. And so I decided, what, if I'm going to react to some obscure bands and wild cards, I wanted to do. I didn't want to push this off. I wanted to make sure that I got to one of his songs, early on in this process. So I gave a tip of the hat to him to show him, how much he means to me. You mean so much to me that I will react to your song on the internet, bro. But yeah, sincerely, like, I am a fan of his music, a fan of him as a human being, and I really hope you guys will check out his stuff. I did tell him that I was going to do this because, as mentioned, I think spoilers are great. I think you don't hide things, and so like I was grabbing some items from his house because we used to be roommates, and and even though like I never lived at his current house, some of my stuff still ended up there. So I was picking up some things and said, "Hey man, I'm gonna react to one of your songs." And he said, "Hey, can you, if you're gonna do that?" Because I was going to do it anyway, but he said, "Hey, if you're going to do that, can you mention that there's a Kickstarter for a They Might Be Giants tribute album that I'm a part of?" So yeah, there's a Kickstarter for a They Might Be Giants tribute album that Regdar is doing a song for. That'll be linked in the description. If you want to support it, please do. If you don't, no pressure. I'm not trying to squeeze money out you people. But if you feel like supporting his art, I encourage it. So once again, no pressure. Not trying to pressure anyone into it, but I am going to link that. So yeah, that is the video. Hopefully you guys dug the song. I sincerely think this is a great song. Even if I didn't know the guy, I would think this is a great song. And if you don't believe me, if you think I've just got the friendship bias, I mean, I don't think there's anything I can do to convince you to that. But remember, I wanted to be his friend because of how great I thought the CD was, and then I made it happen, which is a thing I do way too often. Where I'm just like, this person's cool. I like that thing they did. They're gonna be my friend, and then they're best man at my wedding. So, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Do the like and do the comment and do the subscribe and all the YouTube things that the algorithm likes. Hit that cowbell. Thank you so much. Have a good one, folks. Peace.